Hi, my name is Ryan Graves, and this is The Person Within. This series originated to tell powerful human stories that happen at this organization every day that only those involved may know about. We wanted to bring light to the incredibly sacred work that happens day in and day out. One of those stories is of David Lauder, a United Regional employee who suffered a heart attack while on duty. David started his Friday like any other, and if not for the rapid, professional, and well-trained team response that he received, it could have been his last. This story makes me proud of our United Regional team.
That day on Friday, June 30th, I really don't have any recollection of any events of that day. I've talked to various people. They said I looked a little pale. They told me I was sweating quite a bit right before it happened. I couldn't say yes or no, I don't know. They called a CRT on me at first. They told me I had a pulse at that time. Then shortly after that, they checked my pulse again because they seen I was turning blue.
I heard CRT come across the overhead, and something just said, why don't you go check it out? And I think a lot of it was just the proximity of where I'm at. I usually don't run on CRTs just because not being clinical. And as we were going through, somebody was coming in saying, yeah, there's somebody down outside and they're blue. And so got around everybody that was in front of me, and when we got outside, he was laying basically between the receiving door and the back doors you can use to go inside. And we just, from that point on, it was just assess the situation, and Kevin Pillows walked out about that time, and we teamed up and he started compressions and I started assessing airway.
I heard the CRT being called overhead, and then as I turned the corner, there was a man from Biomed there, and he's turning blue. And when we ran around the corner, I saw David there on the ground, and that's when I ran over to him, looked at him. He didn't look right. I felt on his neck for his pulse, didn't have a pulse, so that's when I started CPR. And I think about that time, one of the officers had showed up, and he called over his radio that the CRT is actually a code blue. And I think probably 30 seconds later, I hear it overhead, and then I started feeling relief because I knew help was on the way. I was thinking a truck driver cut his finger, cut his hand, Band-Aid, ankle, sprained ankles type thing. Those are what most CRTs are. But when you find out that it's something more than that, and it's somebody that you work with, somebody that you see every day, I was unwilling to lose that battle. But so I was doing everything that I could to help them. A minute of CPR is exhausting. 2 minutes is very exhausting. 3 minutes is like you start looking for somebody to come relieve you. I was never so happy to see Taylor show up. She came sliding in and she said, "Can I take over?" And I just fell back.
We hear code CRT a lot. It could be anything, anybody, anywhere in the hospital. So I go out the doors and I see one of the employees. He's like, "Hey, he's right there." So I start running. I'll take a left. I look down the hallway. I see Kevin doing chest compressions. Kevin, he backed off. I started CPR. In that moment right there, I was like, push as hard as you can. I look at him like, "Hey, Kevin, are we ready? Are we ready?" And then Chris comes in. He's like, "I'm here."
I got there. I had noticed Taylor was on compressions. Normally it's kind of protocol to stand behind, wait, and tag somebody off. So as soon as I felt like she was ready to, I tagged her off. A couple minutes later, they showed up with the gurney.
When I start CPR, my first couple of seconds, I pray. It reminds me that this is where I'm supposed to be. And when I started doing CPR on David, there was a prayer that went out. That's the way I've always been able to handle the stuff that you see, the stuff that you do, is knowing what you're doing. It's God's work.
My version was, I remember waking up going, what am I doing in the hospital room? And I looked over, seeing my wife and daughter, and they just kind of smiled at me, and I just went back out. Sunday is when Dr. Sardashian put in 2 heart stents. And then Monday, I was coming back around. I was up on the 9th floor. And I remember everything then. I remember the pain for the chest pains from the compressions, visiting everybody. Every place I went in this hospital did amazing work.
Maybe a week after he had completely recovered and they let him out of the hospital, David came down to see me. I almost cried, he almost cried. I couldn't do anything but smile because I was overwhelmed with joy. He told me, he said, thank you. And he wanted to shake my hand now. I was like, I need to hug you. I don't think David Lauder knows how much it meant to me to see him, so.
We are a family here, in a community. And what I do on a fire department is to help my community. And, that doesn't just stay within where I live. That extends out to where I could be. That's what we're called to do, is serve our community and help our community. And I'm glad I was able to be a part of it.
Seeing David make it through this is part of the reason that I show up to work every day. It's, why we put in so many hours going to school. It's why we put in so many hours of learning to do what we do. Like, there's no greater feeling than having a good team behind you.
I've had people come up to me and hug my neck and just say, we're so glad you're back, you're here, that you're okay. It's amazing, and I do feel like part of a family here. There's just no 2 ways about that. I am so appreciative of everything they've done for me. I'm grateful to be able to spend more time with my family, my work family, my home family, my wife, my children, my stepchildren, grandkids. I feel so thankful for just being here.